This is the AM News, and let's start from our election headquarters. And NDC is gearing up to hold the biggest demonstration ever to hit Ashaimans over what the party has largely described as government's deliberate attempts to ruin the constituency. This demonstration will follow a 3-week ultimatum issued. The party expects the government to start addressing numerous developmental and other challenges residents are grappling with. Deputy Communications Officer for the NDC in Ashaimans, Awal Mohammed, disclosed this on the sidelines after a media briefing. Tema correspondent Kwame Yanka has more in this report.
From the Deplorable Road Network to abandoned projects in Ashaimans, NDC says President Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia have been insensitive to the plight of the residents. In the 2020 elections, NPP polled over 45,000 votes, and this, the NDC maintains, should be government's motivating factor to develop Ashaimans irrespective of the latter's dominance in the area. Aside major and inner roads that need urgent attention, NDC listed a number of projects that are abandoned. These include a 600-seater auditorium and library gate fund project at Ashaimans Senior High School initiated under John Mahama, a story block at Blessed Clementina and Presby Park, an E-block project, conversion of classroom block to a girls' hostel at Ashaimans Senior High School, among others. Awal Mohammed is Deputy Communications Officer for NDC.
Our rules has been in a deplorable state for some time now. We demonstrated last year calling on the government to take serious actions regarding this road issue. Up to date, it's almost 1 year now, nothing has been done. And the people in the constituencies are crying day in, day out about the nature of our rules. That's basically one of them. And secondly, our drainage system is very bad. The sanitation also is very bad. You can go around and do your checks. The sanitation is very bad. Bad odor. The roads are dusty. And in fact, it's creating a serious problems for the inhabitants of this constituency.
Awal Mohammed was hopeful that a victory for John Mahama in this year's election will turn around the fortunes of Ashaimans.
You see, this road, for instance, it was awarded by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and it was done by engineers and planners. You can check it. A first quote was laid before we left office. The roads are dear to us. We use this road in order to make our livelihood, in order for us to make something for our families. But the roads are very bad. And when His Excellency John Dramani Mahama comes back, I am telling you, the roads, the major roads, the inner roads are going to be constructed. I can assure you, because he has done it before and he's going to do it again. That is why he's coming out with policies that are geared towards solving the problems of this country. Policies that are going to help employed people, create more jobs opportunities for the youth in this country. And I think that Ashaimans will not be left out. And when he comes, I am telling you the difficulties, the challenges, the problems that Ashaimans is facing. I am telling you, President Mahama is going to address these challenges. Not somebody who is sleeping on the job. Nanado is sleeping on the job. His appointee is sleeping on the job. And I don't think that they deserve to man or to govern this country.
Women's organizer Haja Badatu touched on the impact of poor road network and sanitation on the health of the residents. Meanwhile, chairman for NDC in the constituency, Shaddad Jallo, urged government to attach importance to issues raised. Other executives and some members were in attendance. Kwame Yanke's reports for Joy News.
Member of Parliament for Wawe, Superintendent retired Peter Lanchintobu, has lashed out at the almost 8 years reign of the Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration, stating that it is a complete waste of the people's time. He noted that 8 out of the 32 years of the country's return to democracy has been messed up by the duo, plunging the country into economic difficulties. Speaking at Winchell shortly after he filed his nomination for a second-term bid in Parliament, he predicted an overwhelming win for the NDC in the 2024 polls to teach the leader of the NPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, a political lesson. Join News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Winchell.
Constituency and polling station executives and supporters of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, in the Wawes district defied a heavy downpour to join the party's parliamentary candidate for the 2024 elections, Superintendent retired Peter Tubu, to file his nomination for the elections. As a mark of respect, he made a whistle-stop visit to the paramount chief of the Wuchao traditional area, Na Imorogomanandom, to inform him about his mission in the district capital before heading to the EC office. This is the second time Superintendent retired Peter Tubu is seeking the mandate of the people, having been given an overwhelming mandate in the last elections. Enthusiastic party supporters, clad in the party colors, majority of whom in fleet of vehicles, others on motorbike, showed their riding acrobatic skills on their way to the EC's office. It did not take long before the EC officials okayed his nomination.
We are here to say that your nomination forms are duly accepted. However, if there is a need to call you for any clarification, we will do so.
The Firebrand Warriors legislature then stepped out of the EC's office and took a dig at the Akufo-Addo Dr. Bawumia administration, emphasizing on the monumental failure of the latter in close to 8 years.
His own driver mate, who has not been properly trained, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, struggling to get a steering when you don't have a license. The two of them have messed us up. The two of them have messed us up for 8 good years. And in fact, in our 32 years, I think we've just wasted 8 years. If this is the way to govern the country, I think that nobody will be interested in voting again. You came around and said if the economic fundamentals were weak, the exchange rate was automatically going to expose you. And we agreed. That was an economic principle. 8 years down the line, $1 to 4 cedis at the time. Today, $1 is almost 17 Ghana cedis. And you think that the fundamentals are not broken? They are not just weak. The fundamental no longer exists. We are now in a free fall. The city is on autopilot under an economic messiah. And you know, I am excited that he's a candidate. Let him lose mercilessly. For the Ghanaian people to tell him, when you are a mess and you are incompetent and you don't have the capacity to lead, we are going to vote you out. I don't expect anything less than 55% of the vote for President John Dramani Mahama in the 2025.
Superintendent retired Peter Tubu won into victory in the last election with a victory margin of a little over 14,000 votes. He's hopeful that this election is going to garner more than 40,000 votes.
I have been told by my research team that they are looking at least 40,000 plus. Right? Yes. I picked this constituency in 2020, moving the NDC vote from 12,000 plus to 27,000 plus. And my target this time around in 2024 is a minimum of 40,000.
He is of the strong conviction that his integrity, intelligence, and energy will win the day for him and John Dramani Mahama in the 2024 polls.
Election 2024 is an election between the truth and lies. An election between honesty and deceit. We are looking for honest people to lead us. And I'm going to support a very honest president who has been there before. An honest President John Dramani Mahama with a very honest Peter Lanchene-Tobo. We are going to reset Ghana, rebuild Ghana, and make it better.
Reporting for J News, Rafik Salam, Wuchao.
Away from our election headquarters, organized labor and about a dozen civil society organizations have handed the government an ultimatum to end illegal mining or face their wrath. According to the groups, the government has not been serious with the fight against Galamsey, despite claiming to be working to end the menace. Illegal miners appear emboldened and are now mining close to roads, including the Accra-Kumasi Highway, with water bodies being polluted at an alarming rate. Only 2 weeks ago, the Ghana Water Company Limited warned about acute water shortages if illegal mining is not halted due to its inability to treat polluted rivers caused by galamsey. At an extraordinary forum to drive home the demand, these groups, under the umbrella of the Media Coalition Against Galamsey, made a raft of demands, including the declaration of a state of emergency over water bodies and deploying the military to clear all illegal miners. Kweku Asante has more in this report.
It's been coming, and finally, organized labor and civil society organizations have come together to mount pressure on government to show commitment in the fight against illegal mining. Organized labor says if government does not act by the end of the month, there will be a series of actions, including strikes.
Organized labor today decided that 1, an immediate declaration of state of emergency in line with the provisions of the 1992 Constitution, Article 31, the declaration must incorporate the following. A, an order to halt all forms of mining, legal or illegal, in forest reserves and around water bodies. Immediate evacuation of all mining equipment in forest reserves and around water bodies. C, the deployment of police and military with full orders to remove, destroy all mining equipment and other earth-moving equipment around river bodies and in the forest reserve. Organized labor would urgently embark on a series of demonstrations and a nationwide strike if government fails to address the concerns raised by end of September 2024.
Civil society organizations are mobilizing to put 1 million Ghanaians out on the streets in protest to push the government to show serious commitment.
Their children are abroad. They will make the money enough to buy, they buy these days VOS. I go to politicians, I go to their houses and I see expensive pure water, imported pure water, VOS. Who is thinking for you? We are going to hit the streets. We are going to put 1 million boots on that ground and let everybody know that Ghana does not belong to a very small few.
President Akufo-Addo's government has been accused of not showing serious commitment in the fight against galamsey, despite his promise to put his presidency on the line. Christian leaders, including the Catholic Bishops' Conference and the Christian Council, say enough of the lip service.
Corruption, complicity of political leaders, some chiefs, and the lack of political will have further exacerbated the problem.
We demand that any individual, security service personnel, politician, or chief found to be working towards the fight against illegal mining should be made to face the full rigors of the law.
This civil society movement is being led by the Media Coalition Against Galamsey, which has outlined a number of demands.
The president must declare a state of emergency over our water bodies and get the military to clear everyone found on the water bodies. Permits given to mine in protected globally significant biodiversity areas, GSBAs, must also be abrogated. 4, repeal NI 2462 immediately, challenging the president to prove us that addressing galamsey with the urgency it deserves now as a national crisis is of utmost priority over winning the next elections.
The National Commission for Civic Education has joined growing calls for a total ban on galamsey. The Commission's chairperson, Kathleen Addy, says the illegal mining activities causing wanton destruction on our water bodies and natural resources is a criminal offense which should merit stiffer punishment. Kathleen Addy pointed out that the current approach to tackling the menace has not been effective and called on politicians to not only enact stronger policies aimed at stopping galamsey, but also rehabilitating affected environments. There's more.
Government has the power. They are the elected representatives of the people. They have the power to do that. You understand? But as I said, galamsey is not something that started today. So in order to avoid politicizing, we want to say that the people who have led the Fourth Republic should make a commitment. We are in election season. You understand? People are looking for votes. let us tie our votes to a commitment, a clear commitment, not two-sidedness, not saying one thing and then saying another thing elsewhere. We want to hear commitments from those seeking power, that they are committed to the fight and they are willing to take actions against it. We want to hear that clearly. I think we haven't heard that clearly, and that is a great source of concern for all of us. So yes, galamsey can be banned. We can come up with alternative solutions. Mining is not necessarily a bad thing. We can have mining going on. It's been going on for over 500 years in this part of the world. So mining is not necessarily a bad thing. It is the way in which we are doing it. The willful poisoning of water bodies, the destruction of forests, now forest reserves as well, is what the concern is about. And those activities are illegal activities, and illegal activities must be dealt with accordingly. So yes, galamsey as an illegal activity can and should be banned.
In a historic moment for the legal profession in Ghana, Ifua Gate has been elected as the first female president of the Ghana Bar Association. The election in Kumasi saw Ms. Gate emerge victorious over her opponent, Kojo Jakpasu. She won the election with a convincing margin, securing 1,208 votes as against her opponent's 1,060 votes. After two failed attempts to lead the GBA, the immediate past chair of the Greater Accra branch of the association has been given the nod to lead the legal profession. Nana Bwachi Adom has more.
In a landmark moment for the legal profession here in Ghana, Ifua Gate has been elected the first female president of the Ghana Bar Association here in Kumasi, specifically at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology's Great Hall, where the Ghana Bar Association is having its annual conference. Mrs. Ifua Gate polled some 1,208 votes against their opponent, Kojo Jakpasu, who also polled 1,060 votes. In her remarks, Ms. Ifua Gate expressed her joy being elected the first female president of the Ghana Bar Association. But here is what she promised for the legal profession.
And from this day forward, it is a united bar in service. No divisions, no factions, it is over. It is time that we put our shoulders to the plow and work to deliver what we believe should be the bar in progress. This indeed is something new, something novel, that the bar, for the first time, has entrusted leadership to the ladies. And I know that with God's help, we shall make you proud. We shall serve you with all our ability. And we shall make sure that you will never, never regret this choice.
Well, people do say that the Ghana Bar Association has been politicized. Is that the case? The Deputy Attorney General, Alfred Tuyaibwa, says that the Ghana Bar Association remains independent. Here is what he had to say to the newly elected president of the GBA, Ms. Ifua Gate.
I think that such remarks have no basis. If you come to the Ghana Bar Association, we have people belong to various political parties. When it comes to elections, we do not consider political leanings. When it comes to elections, we look at individuals, we look at competence, we look at how those people can deliver. And all those who contested, they are members that I can say have the requisite qualification. It's not about being political. The Bar Association is non-political, even though members have their political parties that they belong to. But
In other stories, the College of Health Sciences at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology has established an endowment fund to provide sufficient resources for training more health science students. Speaking at to the media at a fundraising soiree for the College of Health Sciences Endowment Fund, former Dean of the School of Medical Sciences and Chairman of the fund, Professor Daniel Ansong, noted that the fund will, among other things, offer scholarships at both undergraduate and postgraduate levels to help address the issue of brain drain. According to him, the fund will also support research in the field of health, particularly in relation to local diseases.
The college has established the endowment fund to be able to get about 150 million Ghana cedis to be able to provide enough facilities, expand resources for us to be able to take more students in the college and train the health professionals for the next generation. The fund would also support research activities within the college, as well as support needy students who somehow unable to pay their fees, as well as the other resources that would help them in their academic need. Yeah, I said that the brain drain issue, even though you may have heard about it, the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons program is now training specialists in Ghana, and there are several specialists that are being trained in Ghana. And we believe that as we train doctors, the college would absorb them and train them. Once you become a specialist in Ghana, you don't have the desire to go out and get another second specialist training. Of course, you can go for an advanced training, but you wouldn't want to leave the country forever once you have been trained in Ghana as a specialist.
Welcome on Business Updates. In our first story, economist Professor Peter Quarshie is predicting a boost in cocoa production in the coming months following the 45% increment in the producer price of cocoa for the 2024-2025 crop season. According to him, the increased farm gate price will enable farmers to invest more in their cocoa farms to boost their yields.
I mentioned certainly farmers will get some extra resources to invest more in their cocoa farms. They can spray their cocoa farms, they can till the land properly and ensure that cocoa production increases. Otherwise, they may be compelled. Some can lure them with more farms to give their lands for illegal mining, or it will lure them to export or smuggle the cocoa outside the country. So I think this certainly would go a long way to increase production. But to some extent, because if we don't check illegal mining, we don't check galamsey, which is destroying the land, we might not witness the benefit we expect from this price increase.
Now, the Chief Executive Officer of Unilever Ghana Limited, Chris Wolf Caesar, has bemoaned the high cost of living standards in the country, describing it as challenging for businesses and end users. According to him, although business sentiments have improved over the 3 quarters of 2024, the current macroeconomic indices pose a genuine challenge to both businesses and consumers. Speaking at the 64th Annual General Meeting of the Ghana Employers Association, he charged employers to be innovative in order to stay afloat.
We are experiencing a very high cost environment, and inadvertently, our consumers and our customers. So even though all of us in here, probably about 200, 250, we're all business leaders, employers, but when we live here, we also have to use our little money to buy. We are all consumers and customers. So irrespective of where you sit, we have to think about that. Ghana recorded an average inflation rate of 40.3% in 2023, which has been trending down, but still high in 2024. With a year-on-year value of 20.9 in July this year, and an average of 23.5 in the first 7 months of 2024. This is according to Ghana's Statistical Services. This is very high. You know, I don't think wages have increased by the same amount. Businesses are currently in negotiations and stuff. It is a tough environment. We continue to experience high lending rates ranging between 28 to 31. So, Mr. President, you are not too far off. Even though between 29 and 31, you know, could be more, but we're not too far off.
And those are our updates for you this morning as far as business is concerned. We'll be back to cap off the news.
And that's a wrap for the AM News on the AM Show. Coming up next is the News Review segment. And joining us is Dr. Pogwe Boachidankwa, his government spokesperson on governance and security, as well as the Member of Parliament for South Dai, Roxton Nelson Dapiamakbo. You want to stay with us for that.